Okay, so many awesome projects in the shop. I'm so excited to work on it. All of them. We got engines being rebuilt. We got painting going on. We've got the C10 coming together. We got motorcycles. We got so much exciting stuff. But I gotta put them on hold because we got this truck in the shop. This is a neighbor, and what do you do for neighbors when they're in a jam? You help them out. Phil's got 2 trucks down in his shop that he's putting together. This thing needs to go out early next week, and he's got nobody to work on it and no place to work on it. So you put stuff on hold and help them out because at the end of the day, this pays the bills. In today's video, we're gonna throw a clutch into an old Kenworth. Here we go. All right, so first things first, Phil recommended jacking up the front and blocking the front to give me a little bit more room. But I had a birthday, and a significant birthday. I turned 40, and I realized I gotta start doing some sit-ups, and I gotta start working out a little better to keep my awesome physique. So I lost like an inch around my belt line, so my pants don't fit as good anymore, and that's good because I don't think I'm going to take the time to block it up. I think I can just roll underneath and take the back. We did put the box up in the air just to give us a little bit more room, so we're gonna throw some hardwood in the back here and chain that in place so that we shouldn't be touching any of the controls, shouldn't be doing anything, but this will give us some room if we need it. And then we're definitely gonna put some blocks in there and make sure that we are safe. So we'll do that. And then we're gonna go right into taking the shifter out. Apparently the shifter is as sloppy as can be. The springs are out of it, so Phil's gonna take that, throw a couple springs, put another handle in there or whatever, but it's gotta come out anyway. And then luckily we just have to roll the transmission back and then do the clutch and then roll the transmission forward again. It's always a pain when you're swapping the transmissions because you gotta figure out how to get it out from underneath the truck. So last video we did on the main channel where I had to R&R a complete transmission. I think we picked up on the whole side of the truck and it was a whole ordeal. Hopefully this will go a little bit smoother. And I say that and it never actually ever does. It never does, but anyway, here we go.
Always one, always one.
Sorry about the lighting. It's these Milwaukee lights, and they are absolutely perfect to work on, but they interfere with the camera. I apologize that, so we'll keep that short. Pulled this up, pulled the air lines out. Basically, there's a quick connect, so you just push up on that, pull it out, mark it, so you know which line goes where. Phil can do it blindfolded, but I do it just in case somebody else puts it back together again. We'll pull the shifter cover off, which is just 4 bolts, I believe. 9/16 socket. You see them there. We'll pull the shifter off, and then we'll make a little piece of cardboard for that, just so that no dirt comes in. Take your blowgun, blow off the top of the transmission, blow off the floor so you get as little dirt in there as possible, and we'll go underneath. Here we go. We've got big PTO, so we can just disconnect the pump from the PTO and lay it off to the side, not worry about the hydraulic lines. We got cooling lines for the transmission, so I'm gonna have to drain the transmission oil because otherwise those lines are not gonna be long enough, so that sucks. And we've got drive shaft over here, which is not the U-bolt or the clamps, so I gotta get a tool from Phil to take the drive shaft off. I gotta drop the hanger bearing back there, and I think for the most part the air lines and that I can have just enough room to do it without taking everything off. I just need to roll it back, drop it down, take it back. My crutch member's a pain. I can see why he wants me to jack it up. It would make it a little easier, so I might do that. I think I gotta be just enough of a pain to Phil to make him happy that I did this for him, but enough of a pain that he doesn't really want to bring anything else back again. It's a fine line. Anyway, here we go. At least I can skip arm exercises for today. Good old Princess Auto jack. I think I used this jack to lift up my house 20 years ago. Still going. I think I'm gonna block it up. I don't know if I trust it to just stay here without it, but. Okay, so I was gonna grab the U-joint puller, but then I found a block of wood on my jack, and actually this works pretty slick. See the U-joint coming out. Sweet! Grab that. Nice. It's nice that Phil maintains his stuff. So there's not too many people that I would do this for, but at least Phil's stuff isn't all janky and broken and crappy. So, nice little trick. Here we go. Okay, I got most of the bell housing bolts out, and I just have, you see that, there's the strap across the back there that holds that in. You can see the two 15/16 bolt, kind of like a spring steel, kind of lets it flex a little bit, but holds the back end of the transmission up. So, so I only have 2 bolts holding the bell housing on the side, and then that brace at the back. I didn't unhook the air lines yet. I'll see if I got enough flex to just slide it back. We'll set up the transmission jack, take those last bolts out, see if we can go. Clutch pedal is disconnected. The wiring for the reverse and the speed and the temperature is disconnected. So I think the only thing left is those air lines, but I think I got enough flex that I can just slide it back. Here we go. Okay, got a nice little gap there now, see that? Look how even that gap is. I could probably slide it back. Slide it right back in again. I gotta do one airline here. I gotta find the main airline, go into the transmission, but also chained the back of it down and then connected the two so that it doesn't slip off. And looks like I gotta tighten that up, which I will before we completely take it off, but I'm ready to roll it back and keep going. Here we go. Okay, there she is. Now, I was hoping that this would come with the input shaft, but I did pop a couple bolts back in again just to keep it kind of safe so it doesn't fall on my face. But that thing is about as much as I can bench, and since I got nice, clean, dry hands that I can securely handle that thing with, I'm wondering if I should bench it, and then I don't have to go to the gym tonight, or I could take the bolts out, lay underneath the front axle, take a pry bar and just let it drop. Because this thing is cracked in half somewhere. The center is cracked, I think. So I think she's toast, regardless. And Phil's telling me that this might be original. And he hasn't had this truck that long, but the last guy took pretty good care of it. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. Should I do it neatly, risk a hernia, or just drop it and run and say, I don't know what happened. Except then Phil watches the video. He's like, okay, I'm never bringing my stuff to Rich again. Oh, that's what I should do. Drop it. I think I'm gonna go pick up the other one and see if I can bench it. I don't want a hernia. I've had 3 already. That's enough. Here we go. Because this is kind of what I came up with. Put a jack on there with a block on there and get out of the way. It's probably gonna fall. It's probably gonna do some damage. I just don't want it to do damage to my face. There we go. I didn't go too far. I figured it would jam up in there. But I don't know if we can grab this. I might be able to kind of see if I can grab my hand now. At least it's not gonna like pop out and surprise me now. There we go. Okay, I had 40 years to get ready to bench. I never bench pressed once. I always made fun of those people. When in your life are you ever gonna need that. Well, here I am. It's not so bad. Pilot's okay. Flywheel's okay. Take a good look at this thing. Why is it acting up? Okay, well, here's the clutch. Pressure plate, clutch. Here's the problem. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a pretty big cat in this one, so don't think a 4 disc would actually hold up, but she's wore pretty good. Wore pretty good. So he did bring another flywheel just in case I needed a flywheel, but it's just really important to measure the distance across and the width of the pad, because if there's a ridge, there's a tiny ridge, and you put a disc in that has bigger pads than before, your disc is just going to ride on that one little ridge and it's not going to want to move. So then you very carefully have to feather the clutch without getting it too hot and burn that ridge off so you can get full contact on your disc again. Phil dropped off a clutch and I measured it, and it is actually a little bit smaller. We should be okay. So I think I must have done something to piss Phil off though, because like, oh, while the transmission's out, can you take off the top cover because the springs are all wore in there and it's super sloppy. So can you take the forks and the top plate off? Yeah, I guess now's the time to do it. So I'll take the top cover off. We'll swap that. I don't know if I can even videotape a bunch of that because it's not gonna, maybe through the top cover. Not much room in there. Not my favorite jobs to do, but anyway, we'll get her done. Here we go. Oh. Hey, good timing. You can crawl under here and pop it on.
You got her up.
Almost a couple. These aren't really 9/16 anymore. They're more of a 14.5 millimeter. That's it. I can pop the cover off. Okay, so Phil came in with the other plate. This is the old one, but the spring is out of here. See the spring there? There's a plug that's supposed to hold that in place. Unfortunately, that plug is at the bottom of the transmission somewhere. So maybe I'll pull my drain plug back out again with a magnet, see if I can find it. Or some sort of plug. There's a little dowel there that holds it in place. But regardless, I gotta get another backup sensor. This was very crusty. But we managed to just swap the plate. Now this is an 18 speed in this right now. The other cover was off a 13 speed, but they are the same. So the only difference was there was a drain that bolted to here, like a splash lubrication, so it would catch the oil and then point it towards the gear at the back. So just move that over and everything else, new gasket, and we're all set. We bolted it back on again with a little bit of silicone and torque it down, and we're good to go. Top plate's on. So now we can go back to the clutch and put the transmission in place. So here we go. Okay, so on the main channel, when I did the Peterbilt, I think it was a Peterbilt, I bolted the clutch to the flywheel and then pushed the transmission in myself. And that's doable. We're going to do it different this time. We're going to put the clutch and the pressure plate on the input shaft of the transmission, then push the transmission up, and then bolt the pressure plate to the flywheel when it's all up there. Now, a couple things to keep in mind when you do that is that you can't just torque down one side. You gotta lay on your back and spin it around. So you snug one side up, just finger tight, maybe another half turn. And then go to the other side, torque them down a little bit more, so snug them up. And then go another 2 turns, 3 turns or so, and then work your way back again, and then go nice and even. Takes a little bit because you got to crank it over, but you're laying on your back. It takes about the same amount of time as if you torqued them up and you were able to put the splines in, except it's a little bit easier. You're not pushing on it, and when you get good, it's okay to use a pilot and slide it in all at once. But I'll show you, because I did it that way, we'll do it this way this time. So I do chase all my threads with, I just stick it in a drill. Everybody keeps saying, oh, like that's pretty brave. You get good at it, but if you do cross thread it, it just slips in the chuck, because as good of a Milwaukee drill this is, all their chucks suck. No offense to Milwaukee, but it'll just, if you cross thread it, it'll just slip. But take it slow, stick it in, and clean the threads. Now if you notice, there's 2 bolt holes here and there's room for 1 here. So if you don't chase all the threads and you don't stick them in the original holes that it was in, and you grab one of these new holes that are full of all the clutch dust, you will swear and fight and yell at me on the other side of the continent or wherever you are and say, that Rich, he made it look so easy, but he's lying. But there are steps to doing it right, and you got to watch the whole video and follow the steps, do it right, and then also read the comments, because I make lots of mistakes and there's better tips and tricks out there. So read the comments before you tackle this yourself. But I'm already done this, so I'm ready to do my bench warm-ups again. Put that clutch way at the other end of the shop on the input shaft. Hopefully you guys can see that, making sure that the forks, the release bearing goes on the other side of the, that the release fork goes over here because it's a pull type clutch, and then your release bearing grease is pointing down. So here we go, one last push. I think all I'm gonna try and do is put the clutch on the transmission, put the transmission on the engine, and then I'm calling her a day. Here we go. I hate this jump. Okay, so if you were watching me struggle a little bit trying to turn the flywheel over, it was binding up and I didn't understand why. And then realized that the clutch fingers, the release fingers, were inside the clutch just enough. Even though they're on the right side of the release bearing, they were just inside the webbing of the clutch and I couldn't spin it over. So all I did was put a ratchet strap on the clutch linkage just to pull that linkage, because remember it's a pull type clutch. So we pulled the linkage this way. That would pull the fingers away from the pressure plate, and then I was able to spin it over no problem. Now, you know, don't fight with that for 10 minutes. And definitely, whatever you do, do not bump the starter to force it, because you'll just break stuff. So now that the clutch is right, we can tighten down the rest of the bolts, and assembly is the opposite of disassembly, except a lot heavier because you got to lift it up rather than take it down. 2 days without the gym. Here we go. So I'm gonna do a U-joint. See all the lines on that U-joint. This is the proper tool. They'll drop that off. These, I think, haven't been on that long that I was able to do it with the jack. But, oh, I do need my impact gun. But basically, it just pushes out. Let me grab my impact gun. Okay, so Phil came back in, dropped off a backup sensor because this one was completely rotten. So we'll switch that over real quick. We just butt connect those together. It's got the new clip, much better than the screws. I had to pull out the cooler line fitting, they snapped, and then free up the fittings because they're so rusty. So we got that taken care of. Phil popped his head in real quick. We adjusted the clutch because we're both booking. He's got to get his truck back together again for tomorrow, and I got to get this thing ready for tomorrow, but we've got more Christmas stuff on the go. So I got this finally freed up so it spins. I can do the other one, that's when Phil came in. But to adjust the clutch is super simple. Basically all the adjustment is done in the clutch. Have somebody in the cab pushing his foot down on the pedal. It's a 5/8 socket that you need to push in the adjusting bolt, and you just adjust it so that your release bearing is a 1/2 inch away from the clutch. You want it any less and you don't get full pressure of the pressure plate anymore, and you won't be able to hit your clutch brake, which is at the very back. Spin it one way. If it gets better, keep going until it's perfect. If it gets worse, go the other way until you have about that much free play. When your clutch is to the top, you don't have this free play. Before the pedal gets stiff, you are starting to slip your clutch. I can feel the clutch brake at the very bottom, which is perfect. So I'm gonna throw some fluid back in it and get that other fitting done. Did my cooler lines on it, and then put the PTO pump back on, and then that's about it for me for today. Here we go. Okay, so I just have to put the shifter back in again and then fire it up, and down the road she goes. Hopefully this truck is gone when I come back. As much as I want to help Phil, I'm gonna spend some time with the family. If it's still here tonight, I'll put the shifter back in again and then drop it off tonight or in the morning. Otherwise, if Phil runs into a jam, he's gonna throw the shifter in and then he'll take it home. So now, why did I make this video? We already made a video of replacing a clutch in Peterbilt on the other channel, but I wanted to put this video together because we're in a pandemic. Nothing to do with sickness, but we're in a pandemic where nobody wants to work. So if you are able to tackle a miserable job like this, and I hate clutches in trucks, I've made that clear before, you can basically charge whatever you want. Instead of applying for a job, there are bosses applying for you to see if you would want to work for them. Even if you don't, you could put up a shop like this and basically charge whatever you want because nobody wants to do it. Keep that in mind. Yes, this job is miserable. My time of doing this is past. I put in my dirty work. I put in my late nights and my working in the field in the snow and in the rain and under garbage trucks. I did all that. I'm past that. I'm fortunate enough, thanks to you guys, to be able to build cool stuff in the shop, which is where I want to be. But if you're young and starting out and you're full of spunk, this is a perfect job for you. Keep in mind that there's no robot that's going to be able to do this. There's no AI, there's no 3D printer that is able to pull a clutch back and pop a new one in again. It is up to you with some grease under your fingernails and some spunk to be able to do this. It is job security. Now this is already 20 years old. This thing can keep going for another 30 years. If you don't believe me, check out the build we did on the K100 that is now 35 years old and still going down the road doing work. The electric trucks are not going to replace these diesel ones. The batteries, I swear the batteries will last 200,000 miles and then the cells will start to go. The current electric phase or hype is not going to last. You will have a job for the next 20, 30 years, whether it be in diesel or hydrogen, which still has moving parts, to be able to have job security. There is nobody behind a computer screen that is able to do this work. There is great money in it. Do it for 10 years, build your own shop, do your own stuff, and then try to find employees. Maybe things will be different 10 years from now, and you can do it yourself. Phil's got me out of a jam before. I use his equipment, so I'm happy to help him out. There's not too many people that I would do this for. And if I say the few people that I would, they're probably gonna call me, so I'm not gonna say that. Vince is out of favors, no more engines in his vehicles. We're gonna keep working on our projects. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember, if you're not filthy, you're obviously not crawling under a 20-year-old dump truck from Southern Ontario in the Rust Belt. But if you don't fix it, nobody else is going to. So get out there and work on it. Here we go.